let me say first that the Master often told us that there wasn't a single one of his disciples who really understood what he was doing. So I think we always have to keep this in mind when we are confident in the rightness of our own views, whether it be about education or the Sangha or whatever. One of his main teachings was not to make yourself the standard of correctness. That in the Sutra in 42 sections, I think it is, it says, you shouldn't trust your own mind until you're a 4-stage arhat. So, not trusting in my own mind, I can tell you I was working on education from very early on, and I think in 1976, the Master told me and Gary Linebarger to start working, who was later Dharma Master Heng Sure, to start working on Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And it was really a good example of his not telling us what to do and telling us, I've taught you the basic principles, you apply them, you figure it out, and if you get it wrong, I'll definitely let you know. So it was a very frustrating process over the years, and sometimes it was so frustrating I would go to the Master and practically beg him to tell me what we should be doing, and he almost never did. So he would tell us when we got something wrong. But he didn't give us the details of what we should be doing. He would always explain to us, why we got things wrong. There were some things that he made very, very clear. One was that he talked on 2 different levels about, I'm going to talk about DRBU now, not about the schools. One is what's happening right here on the ground now and in the near future, and the other one was the large vision. And the large vision is very easy to talk about because we're not, it's just kind of a reference point for what's going on now. The large vision, I think you could say, he always praised the Catholic educational system, not in its content, but in its organization, that they had schools from kindergarten through graduate school all over the world, and that they were well regarded, and that they influenced an incredible number of people. And he wanted to have a more or less equivalent network of Buddhist schools and colleges and universities all over the world. Since it was so hard in the United States to get an institution accredited, one of the things that we asked him repeatedly early on was, do you want a Fuoxueyuan, a Buddhist academy or institute for a kind of seminary for monks and nuns? And he always said no. That's not what he wanted. He wanted a complete liberal arts institution, a full university model, and he wanted it set up in a way that it could also accommodate, the academic training of the Sangha, And he never, that I heard, said that he wanted a separate Sangha education apart from the Dharma Realm Buddhist University. Now, of course, there are certain things that are part of Sangha education that are not appropriate for the university, like studying the Vinaya and so on. And of course, he wanted the Sangha to go ahead and do that. But since I was not a left home person, I was not part of the discussions, if there were any, about how he wanted those kinds of things to be handled.
在这个国家，这个佛教是个开始，开始啊，一定要有一个基础，要没有基础呢，这佛教啊是不会发扬光大的。基础在什么地方呢？基础就要从教育上着手，教育先要办小小的学校，然后又要办中学，办大学，办教育，然后教育出来人才，可以翻译经典，可以讲经说法，不要像中国那个佛教那种制度啊，就是单单上早晚店，做完了早晚功课，这个出家人就一点事情也没有，什么事情做了，所以呀，结果也没有什么成就，乃至于现在呀，这亚洲的佛教都没有了。这就因为没有从根本上入手，没有从教育上入手，所以我们要从这个教育上入手，要把这个基础立起。这个现在在美国这发扬佛教，不是说哪一个国家的，就是世界的一种世界性的。将来你们各位都要到世界去，各处去弘扬佛法的。那么现在所以要造就这个人才。
Now, one of the things that the Master said was that we should influence the development of Buddhism in the West. And I feel that very much ashamed, and I think a lot of the older Western disciples feel the same way, that we have not done a better job of this. And the Master said, given Western culture, if you don't have a PhD, nobody is going to listen to you. Because we Westerners have really fallen down on the job, we haven't done a good job of getting the Master's teachings about a reformed Buddhism and explaining the fundamentals of that to Buddhists in the Western world. So this is something that we have to work on, and and so he said, those of you who have academic affinities, particularly in the Sangha, if you go and get a PhD, then you can have the kind of influence in the development of Buddhism in the West that I was unable to have. And so he very much encouraged people who had, he didn't say everyone, but if you're one of those people who have that background in affinity, he encouraged people to do that, so that, particularly so that they'd have more influence, in having the right Buddhadharma develop in the West, and not, deviant Dharma or a Dharma ending age Dharma. So if we're going to attract educated people into the Sangha, the Master made it clear that the Sangha, and particularly the Bhikshu Sangha, is to have a strong and vibrant Sangha, and including a strong and vibrant Bhikshu Sangha, which is well educated, is absolutely essential for spreading the Master's teaching, not only in the West, because it's no longer East-West, it's the modern educated world all over the world versus, the uneducated world, So we really have to work on this, and the Master set up DRBU as the best way of moving education into the community of the four assemblies that are doing right cultivation, and that there is a reciprocal relationship of need, in this way. And these are not two different objectives, that the objectives of DRBU and the objectives of the rest of the cultivating community in CTTB and DRBA, according to the Master's vision, as I see it, are completely interdependent and in a very harmonious way, and are not at all in opposition to one another, if one takes a bigger view. So I hope we can all encourage people to understand this and to take a bigger view about this.
那么法界大学将来全世界各国的这些个真正研究学问的学者，真正想要发扬光大这个每一个国家的这个文化的学者，都会聚集到万佛城来。万佛城呢，是全世界的这个宝贝聚会的地方，各国的国宝都会飞到万佛城来。你们要不信的话，20年以后你们就知道我这个话是绝对应验的30年之后那更明白了。那么因为现在全世界只有万佛城，这是真正想把这个人生的真理发明出来，想把每一个人的应该做的事情自己认识了它也就是唤醒所有的这个迷梦的人，在这个世界上赶快觉悟了，不要那么大的贪心，那么多的嗔心那样没有穷尽的痴心来在这个世界上打滚滚转来转去的。要认识自己本来的这个宝贵的自性，返本还原返迷归觉，舍邪归正，这是万佛城的宗旨。我相信门内有君子，门外君子制。万佛城是万佛所聚会的一个地方，那么也就是世界所有的有智慧的人聚会的地方。我常常说，我说万佛城这儿无论哪一类的人到这儿都是英雄有用武之地了尽量发展你的抱负，只怕你没有抱负。你要有抱负，可以到这儿把它发扬光大，来共同给这个世界人类谋幸福。这是我们万佛城的宗旨。我们在万佛城的人，人人应该努力维护这个道场不要想法子和这个旁门左道那个样子想破坏这个道场。